Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up, like this guy right here, by leaving a comment, by leaving two comments, or by subscribing if you have not already done so yourself. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. I know I always say that it's never a dull day in crypto, but boy howdy, the last 12 and a half, 13 hours have just been rock-donkulous, if you understand what that means. And I quote, on Thursday, the 25th of February, the U.S. stock markets plunged, with the Dow Jones index tanking over 500 points in a single day. The surge in the U.S. bond yield to 1.6%, the surge in the U.S. bond yield has created havoc in global markets. Global. Along with the fears of inflation forcing traders to reevaluate their position across different asset classes. So here's where we stand right now. Dow Jones, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ are all dropping quite dramatically, one might say, over the idea that yield bonds have gone up and that inflation might finally start affecting global markets. I don't know why it took them so long to figure that out. We've been talking about that since last March. It only took $7 trillion being printed for people to be like, maybe there's a problem somewhere right now. As one might have imagined, this has, of course, trickled into our market. The ripple effect of the stock market has ultimately come to the crypto market, with Bitcoin tanking. I assume they wanted to say tanking and not taking. Over 7% in another major weekly sell-off. At press time, Bitcoin is down 7%, slipping all the way down to 47,100 with a market cap of 880 billion US dollars. So listen, we've had this situation before. We've had this idea that we are in some way correlated with the stock market. And this is my opinion. This is how I currently feel about the entire thing. What we're seeing is actually not taking place. And I mean for our markets. A lot of the news that you're going to see is that our market must follow the other markets, or our market has been showing weakness and therefore this was going to happen, or we are somehow tied to this and therefore this is so-and-so. No, this is all coordinated. I don't know how to tell you this. I don't know how to explain it to you. No, I don't have a chart for you. People keep asking how I know these things. It's basically because I've lived through it so many other times. If there's ever a situation where other markets look like they're going to be going down, crypto also seemingly falls down at the exact same time, and then about 2.5 days later, we're already going back up, which means that any shock that we had wasn't a real shock. It was simply a coordinated drop for people to be able to buy Bitcoin lower. And I mentioned this before thousands of other times, even from the drop to 20,000 to 3,000. People were like, you're crazy. Bitcoin's gone. Bitcoin's done and lost and forever in the clouds and stuff like that. And then by 2019, 2020, when prices started rising back up and we started getting all this news that institutions had heavily bought the dip of 2018, I was like, there we are. So the news is, at least one fragment of it, because apparently there are a lot of answers for this, crypto markets are down. Why are crypto markets down? Answer number one, well, it has to do with the fact that every single major stock exchange in the entire world is also falling right now. And it appears as though finally people are worried about inflation when it comes to fiat currencies, which also doesn't make any sense as to why Bitcoin would fall, because we know that fiat is being inflated. And some even dare say hyperinflated, depending on the situation that you're actually talking about. You cannot print $7 trillion and have nothing negative happen to your economy. The same exact way. Oh boy, there's so much still going on. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins drop after tagging resistance. Sure, why not? Here's the actual Yahoo Finance news. Stock market news live updates. Stocks drop. NASDAQ ports worst session since October as tech rout deepens. Stocks traded lower and tech shares sold off as a rapid rise in treasury yields spooked equity investors. Good job for them. All three major indexes fell, and the NASDAQ underperformed with a drop of 3.5% for its worst session since October as tech stocks renewed their declines. This was the idea over the course of 2020 for those of you who had not yet dove into into finance, you may have noticed that the stock markets around the world continue to go up. The idea within the cryptocurrency space and for many economists was like, why? Why you go up? There's no reason for you to go up. When you looked at the entire stock market and kind of, show the wider picture, every other stock, every other company, every other business was in red. They were going bankrupt. This is, I guess, the beginning of the spark of the GameStop fiasco, if you will. The only things that kept on going up were tech stocks. It was the Google, it was the Amazon, it was the, I think, Facebook, Apple, and something else. The idea was that e-commerce had kind of picked up and therefore so and so and so. But even then, they weren't really posting incredibly amazing numbers that should have caused a $2 trillion valuation for Apple. Anyway, also the news that we had for those of you who also weren't here, who may be relatively new to the cryptocurrency space, or just need a little bit of a reminder for your memory. A lot of the money that was printed by the U.S. government, normally, typically, historically, we hear around a $1 to $2 trillion, which is a huge amount of money. $1 to $2 trillion printed per year to kind of keep up with that 1 to 2% inflation. We ended up having around a $6-7 trillion that was printed. And some of it was sprinkled onto its citizens and say, here you go, go live in the corner. And the rest of that money was actually pushed into businesses, and a large portion of that was also pushed into stocks and securities to keep the stock market afloat. So we've known for a while that this has all been an illusion, if you will. Like, none of that was supposed to have actually been a thing. But this is why I said, this does not really affect our market. Our market, by all logic, should be going up. And I mentioned before, and I'll say it again, we are currently at the point where Bitcoin is looking like the hedge. Not a hedge, but the hedge. And tons of institutions and corporations have been trying to get into this for a couple of months now, after they realized that they took too long to get into it. It is logical that as they do this with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, equities, securities, even real estate, that behind the scenes, someone is making sure that prices dip a little bit so that other people can get in and start buying over the counter, as to not, rattle's not the word, as to not move our markets upward by doing a stock exchange purchase. Even funnier, I guess, if you want to use that word, GameStop and AMC stock have both been rallying and or rising as the stock market was falling. Now, here's excuse number 2. Bitcoin prices dropped on Friday, tracking declines in U.S. indexes after new data indicated a stronger economic recovery, sure, and an auction of 7-year bonds met with lukewarm demand from investors. The other news floating around is that allegedly we have positive work job data, that people are working again. Jobs are back. The economy's getting stronger and stronger than ever. Do you remember last year when we were talking about this around summertime? And there were many videos. I'm not sure if I clipped them or tagged them or whatever on Twitter. Basically, what happens is that when you want your economy to look a certain way, you change the idea. You can actually do this. This is how economics works. You change the idea of what unemployment actually means. And basically, the metric I believe that was being used before was if you have had a job for over a year and actually qualify for unemployment benefits. And I think if you had been actively searching over the course of a 3-month period or more, so this means over the course of a week, you need to put in around 7 resumes, 7 CVs to be able to show on the data that you are actually without a job. That was the metric. So the metric doesn't count people who had a job for less than a year and therefore did not comply, could not receive unemployment benefits. It did not go to people who were 18 or under, who are allowed to work in some places, who are not over 18 and therefore they cannot apply for unemployment. It did not take into account seniors who are also and have been looking for jobs, who maybe just simply didn't put out a resume or a CV all the time. You kind of get it. The entire idea is completely askewed. Where next to you Have things been opening? Have things gotten better? Have people gotten jobs? And I don't, I'm not going to touch too deep on this topic, but this was fraudulent last year, and I'm certain that it's fraudulent this time as well. The constant job data is to show and prove to other countries that my country's doing okay. Our job numbers are not down. Our unemployment is extremely low when it's all a lie. Based on we're currently having discussions on how people in their homes in the US are even trying to stay warm, nonetheless actually being able to find a job, especially after the news that we had last year, which we also had a discussion about as far as automation and how many companies, when last year they were like, yeah, we got to let off, 137,000 people, teardrop. A week and a half later, they were like, yeah, we're looking to buy some robots to replace our workers. So the once again, and I don't care for the term fake news, but that's the word that slipped out of my mouth, is that Bitcoin has also declined in price because jobs are coming back, or that they've already come back, which is a lie. Everything around us is constantly orchestrated to make it seem as if things are another way. That the economy's, remember all last year, the news constantly that the economy was doing just fine. Remember I told you all last year by June, the amount of evictions that were going to be taking place within the United States. And I think over the course of a week, there were like 25 million evictions because people had been putting in the landlords had been putting in since April to evict these people by the end of August. And I brought you that news that same exact week when all these people got, and these were households. These weren't 25 million individuals. These were father, mother, partner, kids. That includes an entire household were kicked out of their homes. We had news that same exact week. The economy is looking great. Everything's doing pretty good. The jobless numbers are doing just fine. I'm really shocked at their recovery. So that's the second reason as to why Bitcoin apparently is declining, which is once again also a fake thing, simply because Bitcoin doesn't necessarily react to things like that. Oh boy, there's just so much to do in this video. It's a little. Do you know how exhausting it is to go through this all the time? And I'm just being completely frank and honest with you. The amount of, I don't know, how do I even say this in words? If you've been in the cryptocurrency space for a while, you should understand the point of Bitcoin and why Bitcoin goes up. We've had so many situations before, and there's a real tinfoil hat thing that I want to tell you, but that's something completely different. It has to do with the drop in price from Bitcoin going to 20,000 to 3,000 over the course of 2018, and something that happened in 2020. I can't give you that information because it's kind of really out there. It's nothing like, fraudulent, but there's someone in the cryptocurrency space who basically allegedly could have been responsible for Mt. Gox and stuff like that. And it's just a lot. It's always stuff going on within the cryptocurrency space, and the space lacks logic. There's never any real indication that the wider group of people are actually paying attention to real things that are going on. Bitcoin didn't fall because of fake job data. Bitcoin didn't fall because the stock market dropped by a couple of percentage. It's always something else behind the scenes. Same exact way. Remember I told you over the weekend. Why did Bitcoin have to do bad on Saturday and Sunday? Bitcoin dipped, and by Tuesday, Wednesday, we had news that all these institutions had just bought up all the Bitcoin. Well, that timing seems really convenient. MicroStrategy purchased another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, and I believe it was Square who purchased, I think, 170 million after the dip happened, and we had to go down in price. And here's the third reason. I'm shrugging because no. On-chain analyst Willy Woo says that the recent Bitcoin sell-off may be due to false data surrounding a $1 billion whale transfer. So a lot of the news that we get within the cryptocurrency space, or have been told to fear by other people. Same exact thing. We have to fear this. We have to be afraid of that. You got to be afraid of ETFs. You got to be afraid of futures. You got to be afraid of all these things within the cryptocurrency space. One of the other things is that we are constantly told to be afraid of is people moving their money. The entire idea of Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space and blockchain is for people to be able to move their coins at will. It's your money. Do as you like. You got into Bitcoin in 2011 and you have a huge stash of a million bajillion Bitcoins and you decide to move it, go for it. But whenever these coins do move, the news constantly out there is someone moved their coins. You should be afraid and therefore the market's going to drop. Does that logically make sense? No, it does not. But it's the news that we continuously get within the cryptocurrency space. It's why sometime, I think it was the end of last year, some coins move. I believe it was 10 Bitcoin. Like I think actually 10 Bitcoin moved from a very old wallet. And people were like, it was Satoshi Nakamoto and our market dipped. Why did our market dip for someone moving 10 Bitcoin, you might ask? Is the idea that Satoshi Nakamoto, allegedly, nobody knows, people have scoured the blockchain and have come to the conclusion that allegedly Satoshi Nakamoto maybe has 1 million Bitcoin. No one knows for certain, but this is the rumor and the idea that has been, I guess, the ghost story. Now that doesn't make any sense. The long legend, the long tale, the old tale, the urban legend. Jeez, I know I was going to get it. That's been going through the cryptocurrency space for quite a while. And the idea is that people sometimes put Satoshi on a very high pedestal. And the idea is that he is so great and so wonderful that he created this thing that would basically, he's never going to touch it. He mined 1 million Bitcoin for us to keep 1 million out of the circulation. It's like if Satoshi, he or she or they, group of people, had made Bitcoin, why would they at some point not decide to use it as well? So the news was that a very old wallet, we didn't know if it was Satoshi's or not, had moved 10 Bitcoin, and our market began to slide down. Why we keep getting news like this, that we should be afraid of people moving old coins? Like, listen, there are tons of people right now, probably you, maybe your friends, who purchased Bitcoin in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. At some point in the year 2035, you're going to be like, I want to buy something nice. So you move your Bitcoin. Will the price have to tank then? No, of course not. But why? But it's a 15-year-old wallet that hasn't been touched. And the cryptocurrency space is extremely nonsensical. And I've become quite fatigued with articles telling everyone in the cryptocurrency space that we should be afraid because someone moved coins. In an interview on the What Bitcoin Did channel, Wu says misguided fears over a whale dumping their $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin may have been the catalyst that started the massive Bitcoin sell-off earlier this month. I guess the idea being that someone with a lot of money moved their money. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's also a thing as well. People follow metrics as to how much cryptocurrencies are actually being put back onto crypto exchanges as an actual fear metric. So the idea is, if I move $1 billion worth of Bitcoin onto a cryptocurrency exchange from a wallet, people then assume I'm going to be selling off my coins. This is news that we had back in 2017 and 2018 as a way to actually scare the market. Why we keep getting news that this is happening, who knows? One of the ideas was that if you have enough Bitcoin, you can simply place it onto a cryptocurrency exchange. You have no plans of doing anything with it. But the other metrics and the other people who are following these whale alerts will simply go, they're going to sell that off as on a cryptocurrency exchange. The news then comes to us that we should be afraid. Someone's selling off $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. What do they know that we don't know? A sell-off begins to happen. Why does it happen? Because we're told to fear these moments as people are putting their money on a cryptocurrency exchange. Sell-off happens. It accelerates 7-8%. All of a sudden, Bitcoin spikes. Why did it spike? This was before over-the-counter trading was really like a big thing. Why did it spike? Because someone bought a huge, massive amount of Bitcoin, and that amount of Bitcoin that was first deposited leaves the exchange. The other amount that was just purchased also leaves the exchange, and Bitcoin's price begins to go back up. You see why it's kind of ridiculous all the time that we keep getting this news? If someone's putting their coins onto a cryptocurrency exchange, that's their business. We have a bit of a light policing constantly happening within the cryptocurrency space. People say that everyone should be able to do what they want with their money at any given time in the cryptocurrency space, but we're constantly having red flags that are placed in front of our faces telling us to be afraid because someone else found a metric on something, and that we should also be afraid because they saw it. After speaking with Glassnode CTO Raphael Schutzkraft, Wu says it appears that incorrect data on the movement of a massive Bitcoin trove made it look like a Bitcoin whale was moving their crypto to Gemini, where it could be sold on the open market, but in reality, the movement was simply an internal transfer of Gemini's funds. If our market has dropped by $10,000 plus because of some nonsense like this, it's going to make me a little angry. You know how many times this has happened before in the past with the cryptocurrency exchanges? A cryptocurrency, anything? There was a transfer that happened last year within Binance, and it was a large amount of coins. Changpeng Zhao, who is the head of Binance, a minute and a half later had to go on Twitter and tell everyone, we moved the coins. Don't panic. It's just us. Because he knew that if he didn't say something, the price was probably going to go down. What they were doing was just simply moving a huge amount of the Bitcoin that they had on the exchange into cold storage, onto tons of different wallets to make sure that should something happen to the website, that people's funds are safe. Not sure why we keep getting this. This seems to be probably one of the more accurate reasons as to why we dropped so much. We've had this happen before. We've also had like fake buy and sell orders on cryptocurrency exchanges. Once again, you can put tons of crypto onto an exchange. You can place a sell order. You see the huge, like this is a gigantic sell order for a huge amount of cryptocurrencies, but the thing can actually never be met. It's some astronomical price that Bitcoin will never hit. Prices begin to dive because people see that sell order is on there. If people use illicit activities or do ridiculous things as hedge funds and other people in the stock market to be able to, move markets as they wish, that they can buy more or sell more, whatever the case might be, don't assume that it's not happening within the cryptocurrency space. And even more so, it appears that it was just Gemini moving their own money. So we either have a lot of Bitcoin moved, people got scared because they're ridiculous, and the market dropped. What was the other one? Jobs are coming back. So, Bitcoin has to drop on that news, but jobs are not coming back. If you haven't been awake, it's been almost exactly a year at this point. And also the other one is the stock market dropping. I could see that a tiny bit. I could see us moving down because people are fearful that if every other market is falling, that crypto is also going to fall. But no one is paying attention to the point of this market and where this market is going to go and how big it is and how big it is going to continue to be over the course of a long time. I can't tell you what to do with your money. Just make sure to try and evaluate markets as best you can by your own metrics, because in 10 years, when Bitcoin is probably over $1 million, a lot of people are going to be very upset that they sold. I don't know what else to tell you. What's this one? This was also in the news as well a couple of days ago. Someone just moved 100 Bitcoin, now worth $5 million. It only cost $8 in 2010. There was a lot of news about this as well. Like whenever we get news about old Bitcoin moving, it's somehow, I don't know why. I don't know who's writing these articles. Maybe find something else to write about. It makes no sense to constantly have this news. Like, it's like, imagine your grandparent left you a house. And that house was built in the 1920s. They didn't live in that house for 40, 50 years. And at some point you move into the house, you walk out of the house and you have a whole bunch of newscasters being like, do you like the house? Is the house crazy? Wow, the house has been here for 100 years and someone has just moved in. Who cares what happened to this old Bitcoin? Like, no one cares of it. No one in the cryptocurrency space actually cares that it's moving, except for the analytics companies, who then release that data and tell everybody else that these coins were moving and that we should be afraid. Is a whale about to dump their crypto? No. What's wrong with you? Stop it. It's nonsense at this point. Like, you don't understand. I told you this before. Fear is a very powerful thing. It moves markets both ways. You are fearful that the dollar is about to collapse where you buy into Bitcoin. Are you fearful that this is about to take place where you sell off this asset? People are just trying to make sure that they inject fear into the markets constantly, because by the time we get up to a $75,000 Bitcoin, we won't hear about any of this. This will not be in the news. No one will have referenced any of these moments, and other people simply came forward to try and push fear into the markets to drop prices. That's how it always happens. Anyway, so that's if you were wondering why prices dropped news, I scoured the internet. Those are the 3 reasons that I could find. I'm sure it'll be something a day and a half later. I'm sure it'll be something else in a week and a half. And I'm sure a month and a half later, someone's going to be like, the prices fell in February because the head of the International Monetary Fund was in the bathroom for too long. Like it's always going to be something nonsensical that moved our markets. Anyway, without further ado, let us move on. In unsurprising news, because of course they're already into Bitcoin, strategists at JPMorgan Chase have suggested that a 1% portfolio allocation into Bitcoin would serve as a hedge against fluctuations in traditional asset classes such as stocks, bonds, and commodities. A small percentage allocation was advised to mitigate the risk of any large downturn in the digital asset's value. The Wall Street banking giant strategists believe allocating some part of the portfolio to Bitcoin would serve as a hedge. JPMorgan Chase is probably one of the most confusing entities on this planet. Depending on the week, it's about a weekly thing now. It used to be daily before. It's now weekly. They either are obsessed with Bitcoin or they call Bitcoin garbage. They think you should buy Bitcoin or Bitcoin. There was an article, you can Google it. I posted it on my Twitter. They wrote an article sometime, it was in November, December. It said Bitcoin is never going to go above $40,000 again. And I was like, you think that? You think that Bitcoin's never going to go back above 40,000? Okay, well, that's quite dumb of you. And then we get news that Bitcoin is going to collapse. And then we get news that Bitcoin's going to 600,000. So I guess the news for this week is going to be relatively positive on a Friday. That JPMorgan strategists believe that now, not before, but now, you should have a 1% allocation of your net worth into Bitcoin. I think other banks were saying like 3 to 5%, and who was it? It wasn't Novogratz. It was that other guy, the guy with the hair. I don't know. I think he said like a 5 to 10% allocation. Sure, live your own life. So the news basically is Bitcoin's garbage. Oh, and here's the actual Bloomberg article that was like the actual original article from what we were just reading. But I can't show it to you because Bloomberg wants me to pay $290 per year to be able to look at a screen. I'm not sure if maybe Bloomberg is just run by more seasoned people who've been on the earth a lot longer than other people have. But that's not how news works anymore. You can get news for free because it's news. JPMorgan notes to client endorses 1% allocation to Bitcoin as a hedge. Is anyone surprised? No, you shouldn't be. Because I've speculated for a while. With all the back and forths, they are probably quite obsessed with Bitcoin at this point and are probably allocating large amounts of money into the cryptocurrency market as well, because that's how all this stuff works. Anyway, that's the JPMorgan Chase news because you know they're buying. And without further ado, let's move on. Institutional investors have seemingly bought the dip after the price of Bitcoin corrected, heavy air quotes corrected, from $58,000 to $45,000, with $650 million leaving Coinbase, potentially signaling a large buy. What? That's ludicrous. I do not believe that. The CEO of crypto data firm Ki-Young Ju pointed to a massive $13,000 Bitcoin movement out of Coinbase and pointed out the funds went to multiple Coinbase custody wallets. Per his words, this is the strongest bull signal he has ever seen. So while prices were dropping, people were buying. And they went to Coinbase custody wallets because this is normally probably institutional investors, very rich people who are buying and telling Coinbase, we trust you the most. Please hold our coins for us for the next 15, 20 years. I saw this and wasn't shocked. I saw this and just was a bit sad because I know that there were probably people who were trying to time the market, who were trying to time the dip, who lost some of their Bitcoin, who bought back in at a weird price and can never have as much Bitcoin as they previously had before. This is now the third news that we are getting in 2 days. That institution, someone bought a lot of Bitcoin. And yeah. Anyway, not going to spend too much time on this, but it's more so just to let you know that this is actually taking place. The dip that we are experiencing and experienced a couple of days ago as well, institutions are buying in mass. When we get to a $60,000 Bitcoin, I know that all the news is basically going to be about how all these institutions bought this much. They usually come out to, I don't want to say brag, but it's like a mini brag after prices have recovered. And they say, yeah, we got really lucky. We got to buy Bitcoin at 45,000. Yeah, we got really lucky. You do not remember this from last year? Yeah, we bought the dip. We bought when Bitcoin hit 3,000 in March. Yeah, we got them before 10K. We got really lucky. Bitcoin dropped to 14,000 from this number. Yeah, we actually got to buy Bitcoin at 14,000. Anyway, just so you know, they're still buying. They're not going to stop buying anytime soon. Also, don't forget the news that we keep getting that there are new Bitcoin miners who are going online. So more people are joining the fray, the group, the crypto sphere every single day, buying more and more. Just want you to know. Let's move on. Next up in what news? Miami Mayor Francis Suarez has been making the rounds promoting his city as a global cryptocurrency hub. As it turns out, investors are taking him seriously. IBC Group, a Dubai private equity firm that invests in real estate and tech, has earmarked $4.8 billion, $4.8 billion, a group in Dubai, $4.8 billion in Bitcoin for Miami. According to a press release last week, IBC will use the 100,000 Bitcoin to establish the Miami 2.0 Blockchain Strategy Foundation and support other projects. Once again, a group in Dubai. For those of you who don't know, the mayor of Miami announced, this was sometime last year, he's crazy about Bitcoin. He loves it. He wants to buy it. He wants to hold it. He wants to snuggle it at night. Whatever he wants to do with Bitcoin, that's what it is. He wants to make Miami the blockchain Bitcoin city within the United States. He wants to let other companies know, we got you. Our taxes are lower, I assume. We're going to do so-and-so. You can move here. We got warm sun. We got beautiful beaches and beautiful people, and therefore you can start your business here. He announced earlier this year that he wanted to put Bitcoin onto the city's actual financial sheets. A portion of their funds will be held in Bitcoin. So now this is the next part. Do you know what it means for any... And listen, here's... You want to hear the kicker. IBC Group in Dubai is allocating 100,000 Bitcoin, $4.8 billion worth of Bitcoin to this project in Miami. How many more Bitcoin does this group have that they're simply able to say, yeah, have 100,000 Bitcoin? Anyone catch that? Imagine you have a friend who comes up to you and he's like, dude, I really got to buy a car. Can you help me out? I saw a used one. Can you loan me $7,000? It's kind of a lot of money. I've known you for a long time. Cool, dude. You loan your friend $7,000 because you typically normally have more than $7,000 to lend your friend. So anyway, yeah, here's the other news from Yahoo Finance. Dubai's IBC Group pledges 100,000 Bitcoin, the largest Bitcoin investment in history, to support the setup of the Miami 2.0 Blockchain Strategy Foundation. I've mentioned countless other times before, whenever you, me, us news that we get is always from usually American funds or American cryptocurrency exchanges. And I've said tons of other times before, we know for a fact that there are tons of other rich people in Canada, in South America. Remember the news that we got a couple days ago that all these mega companies are now trying to buy Bitcoin in Mexico? There are rich people in France, in Germany, in Italy, in the UK, all over the place around the world, in the UAE. Remember, who was here in 2000? I almost raised my hand. Me. In 2017, 2018, we had news that after Bitcoin had dropped, that there was an individual in Dubai. I think he had immediately purchased 10,000 Bitcoin. And we knew about this because I think he had hired someone to like buy the Bitcoin for him. And this person basically came, it was a very weird story. But this guy had bought 10,000 Bitcoin, and I think by the next week he had 30,000 Bitcoin just by himself. Other people around the world are buying Bitcoin. It's not just the news is always focused on the United States. And I always say the news that we get is just coming from companies who are comfortable with letting us know that they're buying a gigantic amount of Bitcoin. Now imagine the other 193 countries on the planet. We can safely assume that around 15 to 20 of them out of the 193 probably have a lot of high net worth individuals. And these people in those countries, they can have a population of 30 million, 50 million, 80 million, 100 million, doesn't matter. You can probably guess that around a good 15 to 20 of them out of the 80 million are probably buying up huge amounts of Bitcoin. I'm going to move on from here just because I think you all got it, but I want you to really get it. If you pledge 100,000 Bitcoin, it's because you have a lot more Bitcoin already. And without further ado, let's move on. And to finish things off, and also this is not surprising because this is how the world works. United States-based cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase has revealed that Bitcoin and other crypto assets have been a key component of its corporate treasury, so they hold it, since 2012. Well, don't you know? In a new announcement addressed to other corporate actors, the exchange presented its own experience in managing its treasury position in cryptocurrencies as a solid foundation for advising other private and publicly traded companies about how to deal with their own prospective investments. In a newly published, highly detailed corporate treasury frequently asked questions, the exchange provides a thorough overview of the kinds of investments, accounting, and tax policies that companies would need to consider and adopt if they wish to diversify their treasuries into crypto. A lot to unpack here. Coinbase is trying to go public. I think their recent valuation was $100 billion. If I'm not, I think that's the actual number. I don't know if it says it somewhere around here. No, it doesn't say it around there. But I'm pretty sure that was a number that we got quoted. It was $100 billion for their pre-valuation of them trying to go public. So now they're at the point where they're trying to disclose all these things to people who could potentially be looking to invest in them. The news basically being that they hold Bitcoin. I'm going to assume, this is an assumption, I do not work for Coinbase. I do not know Coinbase. I don't know anybody who works for Coinbase either, just in case you were wondering. The price of Bitcoin back in 2012 was, during the course of 2012, was, I believe, between $7 and $13. I'm going to assume that if Coinbase got into Bitcoin, probably around 2010, 2011, you don't get into Bitcoin and you go, let's make a big business. Yeah, that sounds great. No, this was probably set up for a very long time. I've believed that Coinbase probably has over 1 million Bitcoin, and I've thought this for a very long time. When they go public, they are probably going to reveal how much Bitcoin they are holding on their balance sheets. I'm going to assume it would cause a bit of a ruckus, smidge of a ruckus, if they announce that they're public and that they own over 1 million Bitcoin. What's probably going to happen is they're probably going and probably are taking their Bitcoin and putting it into different subsidiaries that are no longer tied to the name Coinbase, so therefore you'll never have to know. And we'll probably get a number anywhere between something ludicrous like 45,000 to 300,000, which is going to be a heavy, very low amount compared to what they actually have. I remember hearing about Coinbase in 2012 and 2013 and being like, that sounds like complete. Now, who names a place Coinbase? It sounds completely stupid. But once you say it over and over and over, it just completely ends up sounding normal. These people probably got into Bitcoin when it was around $1. The same exact way, I'm pretty sure, was Mike Novogratz, who said that it is alleged that he bought 1 million Ethereum when it was at $1. I'm going to assume as well the same. You don't understand how big this actually is, like how big the players are in this space, how much money is actually flowing through all of this. I mentioned before, it is estimated that the cryptocurrency space is going to bring about the world's first trillionaires. And when we do have the world's first trillionaires and you look at their balance sheet, I am certain Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are going to be a major part of that. Anyway, so the news being Coinbase is trying to go public. I assume it's going to happen sometime this year. It's been estimated that them going public is going to bring Bitcoin even further into the spotlight. Why? Because CNBC and all these other companies and all these other TV shows usually talk about public companies who are trying to do this, how much money they're raising, how much they're doing so-and-so. $100 billion valuation before you've even launched is going to make headlines. What does Coinbase do? They actually buy Bitcoin and so and so and so. Wow. You look at Bitcoin's chart, Bitcoin's going up. People start buying into Coinbase. More people know, yada, yada. Bitcoin does well. Coinbase does well. Bitcoin does well. Yeah. There's no exact numbers from them as to exactly how many. The disclosure comes as Coinbase is preparing for a public listing in the United States. I have a very strange feeling it's over 1 million Bitcoin. It's not that there's so much more that I want to say, but sometimes I like want to have these discussions. I have them with my friends about like what wealth this is going to cause, the ramifications for us having trillionaires on the planet. Normal people, I am one of them, being able to get into this market either now or even before, to be able to make sure that you have a piece of that gigantic rich pie. Remember even the news that we had before, and I am very glad that a lot of people ran towards this as well when we got it. Around the time Bitcoin was around $10,000, $12,000, $13,000, this was years ago. They figured out that all you need to have is 0.28 Bitcoin, so that is 28% of a Bitcoin, 0.28 BTC, to actually be a part of the 1% of Bitcoin holders in the world. If you have 0.28 Bitcoin or more, you are in the 1%, and there are billions of people on the planet who can never, ever, ever hold more Bitcoin than you. Billions of people, not millions, not hundreds of millions, but billions of people. So anyway, just try to understand where this is all going. When Coinbase goes public, I assume the Winklevis are going to try and go public. When we start hearing about these people who are in the cryptocurrency space, because I think one of the news stories last summer, and I was like, I don't really care, was that the Winklevis are now worth billions because of the crypto market valuation. So one can only assume that they're doing quite well for themselves as well right now. Just know that. Please do your own research. Always look deeper and further than you feel that you need to before you get into the cryptocurrency space or allocate any money anywhere. But just understand, and I'm saying this for the first time actually this year, not quoting myself from last time, cryptocurrencies are going to make a lot of people disgustingly wealthy. Understand that while the space is risky, the potential upside is also quite nice. It is looking like right now, based off of all the news that we've been continuously getting about the banks institutions, pensions, hedge funds who have openly come out to us and said this, that there are probably hundreds of other companies, even similar to this one in Dubai, who are buying up enormous amounts of Bitcoin every single day. We are very close to the point where there's going to be no more Bitcoin left on the market, and people don't understand that because people don't actually understand scarcity. Scarcity currently in our world does not really exist to the extent of Bitcoin. If you are lucky enough to live in a country where, if you are hungry, you look inside of your fridge, there's nothing. What do? You go to the supermarket because food has been produced for you. You need new clothes, you go to the supermarket. You go to a clothes store to buy new clothes. You need new shoes, a new car, a new hat, anything. You need more water, you turn on the faucet, you turn on the tap. That's where your water comes from. There's going to be a point where the only Bitcoin that is being created is actually still from the cryptocurrency miners. And we had news before last year that there were people floating around saying any Bitcoin that might actually hit the market is going to be directly purchased by PayPal and Square and MicroStrategy and Grayscale, which I assume is already happening. The Bitcoin that we currently see on the market is only there because people are trading with it. We get news every single day that the amount of Bitcoin on these crypto exchanges continues to decrease because while people are day trading with these coins, whenever they get a loss and don't get any extra coins, people who are just buying for the sake of buying are taking those coins off of the market. I don't know how to make this much clearer. I hope everybody understood that. That's the Coinbase news, and I guess subsequently all the news that there is. And wait for it. Why is the list? Wait for it. Where's the? There we go. On the list of patron names, I have like 1,000 other things. I have like baking a cake and I guess a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to do while I'm basically inside the house. And anyway, I love how I'm looking at the list. I'm looking at my screen while you look at me through your screen looking at my screen. What an inception. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Bolero Bastos, Crayola Michelle, URL, On Crypto with Lionel, Tigara Machonisa, Bake Me a Cake, Arfmedic17, Anytime Fitness Monk's Corner Staff, Bodie McBoatface, Yes to Crypto, Miller Hitch Test Every Day and Cal Skips Leg Day, Minting Coins, Jeremy Fox, Jim Gardner, Anthony Charles, Nick Mangialavori, Paxis, Vlad the Impaler, Richie Rich III, Setsuna, Damien, Crypto Artist, Cole D3D, Bankroll Network, 242 to the World, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, Master Ventures in Thailand, Moher Maroni, Adam Graysick, Todd Mullis, A Bibliophobia, The Animal Reader, John Sarson, Nostromo Mishumo, nope, Martin Stoyer, Joshua Vineyard, Moonman High XRP, Utopia 569, Oscar Maldonado, Yasha Harari, Attila the Han, David James, Navarro Williams, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Tolik Banan, Snacky Chan, Conan, Don't Skip Leg Day, George Montoya, Wiselink, not TMI, Crypto Stahl, Need a Miracle, Space Case, Troy Allgood, Bare Bones Mining, Quoted Biddy, Lauren De Miguel Grolet, fancy name, VB Nerd 21, Joe Shaw Show, and Professor Wally from Gunbot University. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to all the new Patreon members that I've been seeing every single day. There's constantly more and more. Thank you to everyone who liked the video. Thank you to everyone who left a comment or left 2 comments, who has subscribed. Hello, new subscribers, especially if you're still here to the end of the video. I know I can ramble on sometimes, but it's just who I am. I'm not going to change it. I can't change it. I had a video last week. I think it was like 45 minutes long, and somebody was like, can you please stop rambling? And I was like, I'm not going to change the format of my channel for one person who's crying in the comment section. Even if it was everybody, I'm not going to change who I am for the channel. I don't know what to tell you. It's not how this life is going to work. At the moment, Bitcoin is at $45,660 US. It is down by 8.7%. Here's the precipitous dip that we have endured over the course of the evening. Based on the news, it's something. Something happened. Whether it be this or that, or simply someone being like, I want to sell off tons of Bitcoin because I want to buy a chateau. Who knows what it's going to be. Ethereum is currently at 1,466. Somebody posted, like, I think yesterday. And it was like the Kevin McAllister face where he's like holding his cheeks and is basically like, oh gosh, no, we're back at the same exact prices where we were 2 weeks ago. Whatever will we do? just to put it into context, the market falls, but we're not at zero. The market catches itself. Binance coin is down by 8.9%. Cardano's up by 2%. The gigantic engine that could, if you will. I think people are really trying to get Cardano into the number 3 spot, which would be absolutely insane at this point. But it looks like it could actually do it. It is a 1.345 billion away. I feel like it could do it. It's not that big of a hurdle. It has to pass by Binance Coin and then pass by Tether. I think if we actually do get to a number 3 Cardano, I think the price will probably continue pumping, because then the news will be, we're number 3. What's stopping us from becoming number 2? Polkadot is down by 11. XRP is down by 8. You get it. Everything is down, more or less. Yeah. Anyway, I do hope you all enjoyed. Regardless of, I'm showing you a sea of red, and I'm like, I hope you have a great day. I hope you're liking it. This happens. If you're new to the market, I'm telling you it happens. If you're old in the market, I'm telling you what happens. We've endured far worse. I would be rattled and or shaken if we didn't constantly have news that institutions are always buying the dip. Whenever there is a dip in price, they're buying billions of dollars of what was sold by other people. So always keep that in mind. I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all... It's Friday? Friday. Why'd I say it so many times? Enjoy your Fridays. Enjoy your weekends. Enjoy your life as best you can. I know that sounded a bit weird, but you don't understand what I'm talking about. Life is a little odd right now, so try and do something nice for yourself at least once a week on a Friday. Order some food. Have a friend over. Play some video games. Do something that makes you smile. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See